Grandmaster Kolovich, few months ago, came out with this interesting tidbit of information that he said, I analyzed about 200 games by Capablanca, and thanks to that I gain a lot of knowledge, and even gain I think a Grandmaster norm when he was younger, thanks to that work. The games he analyzed, he told me, were around 200. He wasn't able to tell me precisely which one, but he said he analyzed them over the board, without computer, without nothing. So, in the spirit of watching the games by Capablanca and trying to understand them without using a computer and just over the board, I will show you two games of a match against an unknown player that were played like 100 years ago. I find them interesting, and I hope you will find them too. Okay, this book has about a lot of games by Capablanca, but the problem is he has 206 games, but the problem is they are all in the famous or infamous descriptive. So this is game number 23. Capablanca is white and black is our back. Sorry, it seems it was 110 years ago, because this was played in Paris, March 20th, 1914. This is the game number 1 of the match. So, pawn queen 4, pawn queen 4. We are using the descriptive notation that probably you have seen also in the Queen's Gambit movie, right? In that time, the 1950s, 60s, they were using the descriptive notation. The game continues with pawn queen, bishop 4, and here it comes a very interesting thing. Pawn king 4. So this is the counter Albin gambit that I have played a few times. Is very sharp. Unfortunately, you know guys, one thing, when you try to prepare this thing, you play online some blitz games, but unfortunately the opponents are not strong like the one you find in tournament. In tournament I found a young lady that out of this opening that I was prepared, she outplayed me in the opening, and then I outplayed her in the middle game, because since I was losing I went really sharp in it, and there were too many things to calculate and she miscalculated something, so in the end she tried to give me a perpetual, if I remember well, and it ended like that. So after pawn king 4 there is queen pawn takes pawn, and in this case obviously you go forward because you take away this square from the knight, right? And now there is knight king bishop 3, knight queen bishop 3, attacking this, knight 1 king queen 2, bishop king knight 5. So bishop king knight 5. This is a king knight 5. Sometimes it's a little tricky, right? And here there is a pawn king rook 3. Obviously this is the move. Probably this was better because you don't want black to develop here, right? Okay, pawn king rook 3, and after which there is bishop takes knight, knight takes bishop, And now there is another good move by black, which is pawn bishop 3. Pawn takes pawn and knight takes pawn. So obviously why this move was good, because the Albin counter gambit is a gambit, and in a gambit you want to give the material, like pawns that in the beginning are not so important, for gaining development and an attack, right? Okay, so he played pawn, king, knight 3. Bishop, knight 5, check. Bishop, queen 2, queen, king 2. Pawn, queen, rook 3. And now obviously black needs to decide what to do, and he swap the bishops. And here there is a diagram, because it's a black turn and black needs to move, and he does this by castling. But castling for the authors of this book, so guys, why do I tell you this? Because you see, this is a Dover publication, and it was first published in 1975. Then he had probably a second edition in 1993, but unfortunately both these years don't have very strong computers that could have check in place of the authors. If what I say it's a mistake, it's really a mistake, okay? So take the idea of a mistake with a grain of salt, because black plays this, instead they say that black has missed his chance and should have played knight king 5, okay? Why that? Because after that white needs to move the queen, right? And let's say he moves it here, and they play knight bishop 4. So that's kind of interesting. And what happens here? If he takes back with check, and he needs to move the king, right? But once he moves the king, oops, there is a check here that is forking both. So that's the reason why they said that move would have been better. Okay. Obviously also the night before, it's really good. Yeah. So this is why this wasn't good enough. And unfortunately, sometimes once you miss, you cannot really take it back. And now white plays queen 3, and so it becomes a problem. Now there is pawn, king, knight 3. To avoid probably check here. And obviously now this, they say knight king 4, which is this, is not working because of queen here giving check. Okay. Okay, so this is the move played in the game. Bishop knight 2, king rook, king 1. Pawn queen knight 4. Now it starts to begin the counter attack by white. Knight queen 2, rook queen 1, knight 2, king 4. Knight takes knight, knight takes knight, queen king 4. Wow, obviously trying to take here. And now there is another mistake by black. It seems the right move was this, but he played this, and of course after that there is check, king goes here, bishop takes knight, destroying the defense in front of the king, and now white castle. As you can see, sometimes it's important to give the material back because you want to achieve something else. Here the queen takes the king pawn, but this leads to a lost endgame. Okay, let's see why. Rook takes pawn, rook takes rook, queen takes rook, pawn king rook 4, pawn king rook 4, pawn knight 5, pawn bishop 4, oops, queen takes pawn, pawn rook 5, pawn takes pawn, and here there is queen bishop 6, queen bishop 6, if I see, where is it? Oh. Okay, that's a great move. So it's attacking here and here, so that's why he cannot take here, because he would take with check, so that's why. So he plays queen bishop 2 and rook queen 1, and here black gave up and resigned. Probably the next move could be this, and then there is or a checkmate. And if you play this to defend, unfortunately there is a checkmate here. So a beautiful game by Capablanca, and we will watch the next game in another video. I thank you for watching and remind you of the book that was the Unknown Capablanca. It's a book of 206 games, not all of them annotated in descriptive notation. So be aware that some people don't know how to read the descriptive, they find it a headache, and so they don't want to buy a book with descriptive. However, I bought it like used for a couple of bucks because, like I said, this is a book from the 1970s, and so for $2-3 we can enjoy 200 games played by Capablanca and see if by watching them we learn something, like Grandmaster Kolovich says, and improve our chess. Thank you for watching.